Welcome, sports fans, degenerates, my people. This is the breakdown with Ben Fair. What a weekend, guys! This was a really crazy weekend in sports, from NFL to college, everything, and we're going to cover a lot of those things today. And we're going to talk about our ACU Wildcats. Where you did you fade me? Did you fade your boy over the weekend? I want to talk first about. Let's break down my picks from last week. Okay. I hit the ACU line, the plus 13.5, so that one shouldn't have faded me. Jets, Pats hit the under at 38.5 points. Okay, so what I mean by the Jets are going to jet, the Cowboys are going to cowboy, the Raiders are going to raid. I bang on the Cowboys a lot. It's not really – it's just out of fun and games because a lot of family and friends love the Cowboys. And that's great. But we have these things in common as our teams that we're fans of. And the Cowboys are going to lose the important games and win the easy games. That's what the Raiders do, and that's what the Jets do. So let's break down our Jets game of last Thursday's pick. Rodgers was in total control of this game, guys. He showed no signs of his injury. He did not look like a ballerina like I accused him of being last week, and he just looked solid. And a bigger story, too, is the Jets' defense. They did what they're supposed to do. The Jets have a top 5 defense in the NFL, in my opinion. They did their jobs, and they showed up to play, and Aaron Rodgers was able to beat, a really rough Pats team. They should dominate that game, and they did. And Jacoby Brissett, he looked pedestrian out there. He's a backup, And so is that a big win for the Jets? It was their home opener. We talked about that last week and what that means for Rodgers and New York. And it was a good win for them, but who did you beat? So now let's talk about the Cowboys. They cowboyed like we kind of assumed that they would. The last 2 weeks, they've lost to the Saints 44-19 and the Ravens 28-25. Now, could this be a good sign for the Cowboys? I think so. So this is where when I break down these things, the Cowboys are what I call the September spectaculars. Almost every year, they are killing it early on in the season, and then they start dropping the ball, for lack of better words. And so these early kind of losses, these early devastating losses in some ways are maybe not terrible. It may be okay. And let's talk about the owner of the Dallas Cowboys for a little bit. This is a regional. We're in Abilene, Texas, so a lot of Cowboys fans are in this area. And I'm preaching to the choir here, but for some of our listeners that are from other areas, for which we do have many, Jerry is the ultimate businessman. The Dallas Cowboys are the richest franchise in American sports, possibly even beyond. I can't confirm that, but are they America's team still? Because I don't know if anybody even really believes that anymore. I think, and this is an unpopular, maybe popular opinion, but I think we can give that to the Kansas City Chiefs. They smell like the Patriots right now. They do. America likes winners. The Cowboys haven't won in 30 years. Consistent playoff victories in 30 years. So, and they got their GM, Jerry Jones, to thank for that, and I'm preaching to the choir. I'm not telling my Cowboys friends and family anything that you don't already know. Moving on. I really think Dak gets a lot of hate. Dak should not be getting slammed as hard as he does. He's a really, really high level quarterback, and he's playing against the best of the best in the NFL. It doesn't get any more difficult. And the other thing is who realistically are the Cowboys going to get that is going to be better, more consistent than Dak Prescott with the pieces that he has? You know, they pay three guys the bag, everything they got, and then who else has he got? Who's, you know, you paid one O lineman, you know. They can't draft a high pick quarterback because they have basically winning enough seasons every year to make it to where they're not going to get a high draft pick and be able to get a young stud. So don't hate on Dak. I'm not here to bang on the Cowboys all the time. That's not what I'm here to do on this program. But it is fun to point out the obvious at times. Okay. On that note, I would love to have Dak Prescott on my team, on my Raiders. We are in a quarterback no man's land, and we have been for some time now. And, you know, Derek Carr got the Dak Prescott treatment. You know, get rid of Carr, get rid of Carr. Well, now we don't have anybody. And we draft like clowns. We could have got Penix Jr., but no, can't do that. It's frustrating. We're gonna bring the program up soon, guys, but I just want to get out of the way some of this stuff early on in the program that is frustrating to me and my team and many others and many other franchises. And you know, I banged on the Cowboys last week. It was, you know, because I love to. I'm not gonna lie about that, but I think Dak deserves some appreciation here, and because you could be in Gardner Minshew mania land in your Las Vegas Raiders. That's our quarterback. He looks like Uncle Rico, and he does. My dad brought this up, though. He's got Kenny the Snake Stabler vibes from back in the day, which is cool. I'll take it. But, you know, can he be a starting quarterback in the NFL? I guess he is with the Raiders, whether I like it or not. Okay, like I said, we're going to try to bring this program up, the volume up here, the excitement up, and I will, trust me. I got a new segment coming today that I know some of my friends in the Midwest are going to absolutely love. So, but before we get to that, Ben's Thursday pick of the week, Cowboys at Giants on Amazon Prime with your boy Al Michaels and Herbie. Cowboys are a 5.5-point favorite. Now, Cowboys are going to cowboy generally. So, how they're going to cowboy tonight is they're going to beat the pants off of the Giants. I'm taking the 5.5 points. I think they're going to win by 100. But this is where you fade your boy Ben. You fade me today because this could go really bad. But the breakdowns pick is Dallas minus 5.5. And the Cowboys better smoke the Giants like John Daly behind the business end of a lung dart. They better do it. They better do it. Okay. Is the breakdown going to be surprised if it goes the other way? No. We will not. So, let's move on. Let's go to our ACU Wildcats breakdown. Now, man, Saturday night's showdown ended with Idaho outscoring our ACU football team 27-24, which was very impressive. If there's such thing as a good loss, like we talked with the Cowboys, I think this was a good loss because Idaho led ACU 20-3 at the half. Our boy Maverick MacGyver, he came back with 2 touchdowns in the second half, you know, got him within a few points. And you should have not faded me on this one. The ACU covered the 13.5-point spread. So that's just neither here nor there for the moment, but it is a good loss for ACU because they're going to have some growing pains moving up in their conference and playing the big boys of college football. This weekend we have Utah Tech Trailblazers, and they're 0-4. These guys are getting beat up, manhandled by everybody they've played so far. It's an even spread with your Wildcats and the Trailblazers of Utah State or Utah Tech. I take Big Purple, folks, for the win. MacGyver drops dimes. That's what I suspect happens here. And ACU comes home with the W. Next week's matchup is going to be ACU versus Central Arkansas at Wildcat Stadium, and we will talk about that next week and what we think is going to happen there. That kind of sums up our ACU Wildcats breakdown for this week. Now, here's the new segment. This is our new segment that I may not be able to do it every week because I don't know if there's that many teams that I can come up with, but I know I've got it for at least a few weeks. This is on the breakdown with your occasionally humble host, Ben Fair, number 68. And in your Midland Christian 2003 program, number 1 in my mom's heart. I will be covering several different teams for a variety of different reasons. Some of these reasons are regional, like your Dallas Cowboys, our ACU Wildcats here in Abilene, Texas, or me, Dre, and Cube's Las Vegas Raiders. Get some. We love to lose. We love to lose. But I was going to say, we're really awesome in a way. I told my mom I wouldn't curse this week, so I'm going to try. But, the Raiders are badass whether we lose or not. Sorry, Mom. Sorry about that. We'll try to make that the only one. Okay. I want to introduce to our listeners here at the breakdown of another category. Some of you fans may find it controversial, even sacrilegious at times. This category is the adopted teams category. And this one's going to be a lot of fun for the show. And this week's adopted team, I present to you the monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears. Oh, the Bears, yeah. So, here we go. That's all I have. I was going to try to bring a T-shirt or something. I'm sorry, Jenna, but I couldn't find it. So this team is special to me because there's some of my friends. This goes out to Jenna, D-Rock, and the infamous super fan of the Chicago Bears, Big Frank. And I'm going to get into how, a little bit of how do I get into this with these folks, okay? So they're serious fans from Chi-Town, and they're good friends of mine. And like your sometimes humble host, they suffer letdown after letdown season, but they never abandon their team. And that's why, one of many reasons why I love these folks. And these are Chicago natives. And Chicago is currently 1-2. Beat the Titans, lost to the Texans and Colts. Week 4, they host the LA Rams at Soldier Field. Big Frank and co. will be there. Big Frank, I'm not kidding, listeners. He won the Superfan contest for the Chicago Bears. He has this party bus thing, and I don't know if you guys watched Hard Knocks, but Big Frank, I think a couple weeks ago, he was arm wrestling with that backup quarterback's dad in his party bus, in the tailgate bus thing, and I'm just telling you, these people are super fans, and we love that around here at the breakdown. Big Frank is my spirit animal. He really is. He's the fans' fan. So that's who this week's Ben's adopted team pick are your Chicago Bears. Now, let's break it down. Caleb Williams, he's from USC, won the Heisman. My thoughts on Heisman winners, it's generally not good. It doesn't tend to work out very well. My notes say, my thoughts on Heisman winners. Yikes. So here again, let's try to bring it up. Let's bring up the the program here. He was a number 1 overall draft pick, and what that means to me is unrealistic high expectations of this quarterback or any quarterback. Usually these guys come from very good college programs. He came from Lincoln Riley at USC. Like we said, he won the Heisman. He's a good kid. If you watch him on Hard Knocks, he's learning. I think there's some leadership qualities that can develop with Caleb Williams. It's just way too early to bang on the guy and bang on the Bears, because that's what they did with Justin Fields. And Justin Fields looking pretty good in Pittsburgh right now. So, nobody's going to listen to my advice in Chicago, but I think that they should really give Caleb Williams some time. I think he's got serious potential to be great. The offensive line of the Chicago Bears, dumpster fire, hot garbage. I mean, they've got to step it up. This kid's running for his life every week. So you can't – Caleb Williams does not deserve really much criticism at all right now, because he's out there running for his life, and you can see it. Just watch the games. The head coach, Matt Eberflus, I don't know, guys. I think all these teams, they got to have a big-time coach if you really want to win. Now, there are examples of, quieter coaches that aren't huge names winning Super Bowls, but generally speaking, you got to get, not everybody's going to get an Andy Reid, but you got to get somebody. Like even with our Cowboys, Not Mike Tomlin. The Cowboys coach he's won a Super Bowl with the Packers. He's he can do it if he wasn't held up by Jerry. So, listeners, here's the breakdowns, Rams and Bears pick for my adopted team category. Chi-Town is a 3-point favorite at home against the heavily injured Rams squad. Cooper Kupp's out. Puka Nacua is out. There's several other key pieces that are not playing this weekend. However, I do not like betting against Matt Stafford. I don't like it. The kid is he's a pro's pro. And so that makes me nervous. He's dangerous. It doesn't matter if he's got big pieces on his team out or not. Be scared of Matt Stafford. Don't sleep on him. Okay, Jenna, D-Rock, my man Big Frank, Chicago. Here is your breakdown pick from the hot, dusty Abilene, Texas. The pick is in. The Bears for the win. Chi-Town's defense smells like 85. Number 18 drops dimes to keep Big Frank's dreams alive. Woo! Go Bears. Okay. That's our Bears breakdown. Okay, thank you guys for that. I'm really excited for the show's new adopted teams breakdown. Next week is going to be going out to my son. He is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. How? We don't know. How am I a Raiders fan? We don't know. Maybe someday we'll cover that. So next week will be your Pittsburgh Steelers, who I think are going to be 4-0 with Justin Fields, your Bears' former quarterback. Now, I don't talk about the Raiders a whole lot on this program because I'm one of few Raiders fans. in my area and in my friends and family group. So it's ugly. It's not good. Max Crosby had a rough game. He's looking like he's kind of hurt, and he's like the best player on our team currently. Antonio Pierce is an awesome coach. He played in the league. The players love him. He called out his team for making business decisions last weekend, which essentially means these guys are taking plays off. They're not wanting to get hurt. They can see the writing on the wall for this season just going in the toilet. So that's my breakdown of my Las Vegas Raiders. Now, at the end of these programs, generally what I like to do is discuss something sort of outside the lines of football or sports, but we could call it outside the lines. Don't come at me, ESPN. But anyways, what we have this week is going to be my takes and breakdowns of the college football mess that we have in the NCAA right now. I'm going to discuss name, image, and likeness, the NIL rules that have come to call over the last couple of years. Okay, let's get into it. This is why I generally like the new NIL rules in college football, and I'm here to give my opinions, my takes. I know that a lot of you probably may disagree with my takes, and on another note, in the coming weeks of this program, I am going to be having guests on this program, and we're going to break down a lot of different things on covering these really important topics in the world of sports, particularly football, and we're going to argue probably. We're probably going to agree on several things, but that's just kind of a preview of what's to come on the breakdown with Ben. So, let me get back to this. Why I generally like the NIL rules in college football and the new expanded 12-team playoff. College football has been seriously lacking parity. When I say that, the matchups every weekend, like we get historically, there's a handful of games. There's almost 100 football games being played on any given weekend and the college football map. And, you know, you got Alabama playing Jimmy Lipper Tech, and you got, you got the Aggies playing some team from, like UTBB or something. So that bothers me. It's why I tend to like the NFL more because of the parity, because you don't know who's going to win every week. You don't know what's going to happen. Now, I speak out of both sides of my mouth on this topic because we do get great college football games, but it has become so much about money. It always has been, but I think adding the expanded 12-team playoff just gives us more excitement. It gives some of these schools outside of the SEC, for God's sake, a chance. And you never know what's going to happen on, in this case, any given Saturday against a mid-level program and a big bad boy program. They could get toppled. So I think the parity is great here with the 12-team playoffs. And the restructuring of some of these conferences has been interesting. It's been devastating for some fan bases and universities, but it's overall, I think we all win because we're seeing matchups that we wouldn't have seen before. And college football is getting a new look, and that will come with headaches and growing pains, like many things. Let's get to the NIL stuff. I'm, in a lot of ways in my life, I can be the old man, get off my lawn guy in some scenarios. But these universities have always paid their players, their top-end players. They always have. And then, and many cases, people get in trouble for that. They lose the Heisman Trophy for that. You got the Reggie Bush stuff. You got all kinds of, SMU getting the death penalty back in the day. So this has always happened. And now the players have leverage. The players have the transfer portal. This is where a lot of people disagree with me. I know it comes with its issues, but I kind of love it because now it's an even playing field. The coaches. Let's talk about the coaches in years past in the college football. These guys are making millions of dollars. And they're going to these kids' homes, in their homes, talking to their sometimes single mother, grandmother, or parents. And these kids, a lot of these kids, let's not lie to ourselves, are impoverished. And they're promising this life-changing experience to come play a game that can turn them into millionaires and give them generational wealth, and come play for me. Insert Nick Saban or whoever else you want to put in there. I'm not trying to bang on him. That's just first thing that came to mind. And then you recruit this kid, you tell his mom all this nonsense, and then come training camp, you're like, oh, sorry guys, I'm headed for a bigger, better job for $8-9 million a year. Sorry about you, but y'all are the student athletes, so just deal with it. You'll be fine. You got your team. See, I'm not going to curse here, Mom, I promise, but this is garbage. And the reason all these coaches are having a hard time with this is because all of a sudden they're getting a taste of their own medicine with some of these really high-caliber players. On another topic, it's the same topic, but another point I have to make is a very small percentage of student athletes, football players mainly, are subsidizing a very large percentage of these universities, their bankrolls. We're talking like maybe 3% of the student body at any big-time university is their bankroll, is making their bankroll, guys. And they're subsidizing the other sports programs in that school too. I don't know this for a fact, so I'm not preaching fact here, but I'm willing to bet the reason why Alabama's cross-country team has a really nice bus and sweet hotels is probably has something to do with all the national championships and all the TV stuff. So that's my thoughts there. You guys might disagree with me. That's fine. There's going to be growing pains as college football navigates this new landscape. Some of these guys, they're just mercenaries out there right now. This is the Wild West. I think it's exciting. I think it's interesting. I've never been more interested in college football than I am now. And it's because of the shakeup. It's because of the old guard. You're done. You're out. It's wartime. It's Civil War time. And the Mercs are here to collect their money and take heads. And I think that's pretty exciting. We kind of went over the pros and cons of the transfer portal without kind of going, over them. But this part of this breakdown here is specific. This is about the UNLV, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Rebels quarterback. This just happened yesterday, guys. His name's Matthew Sluka. And he has basically got them to the best start they've had in forever, 3-0. They're playing big teams. So the day that UNLV pays, I think, $24 million to either get into or stay in the conference that they're in, Matthew Sluka quits as their quarterback after Game 3. He's been killing it. He's kind of a run-first guy, but he can pass the ball. But he's doing an incredible job for that team. And he came out and said that he is not going to play with the team. This is his last year. So if you don't play if you play less than 4 games, you can Basically, you can play another season if you're a fifth year senior or what have you. I don't want to bore anybody with those details, but he's basically quitting so he can redshirt and play one more season next year for a big team. Because let's get into the why breakdown, folks. According to Sluka's agent, Marcus Cromartie, UNLV allegedly made Sluka an offer to pay him $100,000 to play for the Rebels this season. And Sluka's side said that's not happening. He's saying they gave me $3,000 to move here from Holy Cross is where he transferred from. And this is where it's messy. And this is where I'm not going to take a side here because we don't know what really happened, but we generally find out what happens. And if UNLV just paid $24 million to stay in a conference or get in a conference, and they're not going to give this kid $100,000 to play a season, and he's killing it for them, then, then we got a problem. And what I asked myself was, are there contracts here with these name, image, and likeness deals? I don't know. I do kind of know. I think there's some legal issues with all this. That's why this is still the Wild West of college football. There's regulatory issues. There's stuff happening in Congress regarding these players and how they get compensated. So what I think is going to happen, and it's not just my opinion. I mean, other people have these takes that I have, so I'm not like trying to be, a know-it-all here. But what I think is going to happen is there's going to be collective bargaining in the future with these college athletes and the people that have all this money to pay them that should be paying them, in my opinion, to some degree. And that means unionization, and that means difficulties because these players are not this if you want to call it a workforce in a union, these kids aren't there very long, but they're gonna have to have some sort of that kind of a governing body in order to get paid and treated the way they should be, in my opinion. Here again, that's my opinion, and several of you may disagree with this. And I'm not saying that I like what's happening right this second with all this, but I think that this is a good start, and we're going to have some of these stories. And I think what's happening a lot is these kids are getting promised things, and they're not being followed through. And I think a lot of these kids don't have a lot of other options, so they're just staying there hoping that it'll come through. And I'm not going to get political here, guys, because that's not what the show is, because then we could really get into all kinds of arguments with me. But, unionization is tricky, and especially when you're dealing with short-term employment. So here's the breakdown's takeaway. Again, I find myself speaking out of both sides of my mouth on this issue, and I don't love that. However, in many cases with growth and progress, it comes with bumps in the road and the occasional dumpster fire before the end goal is reached. So I am excited about the parity of college football. I think Georgia is going to win this weekend, so take Georgia or fade me. And I'm also thinking, guys, this could be a bad night for the Cowboys, but I'm taking the 5.5 points because I don't want to have to listen to all my buddies at the gym tomorrow morning cry about the Cowboys again. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. The Bears, the monsters of the Midway. Come on, Jenna. Come on, D-Rock. Come on, Big Frank. Big Frank is my spirit animal, guys. I swear you could probably find this guy on the internet somewhere. I'm not joking. It's pretty incredible. Go Bears. I just feel for you guys because I'm a Raiders fan. Next week, we got the Steelers as my adopted team of the week. We're going to see what happens with the Wildcats with our Big Purple this weekend. I hope that goes great. My Raiders, you guys don't care. I don't care. Y'all have a great week. See you later.